Welcome to Truth, Money, and Freedom. Today is Thursday, May 30th, 2019. Gang, this is an update on the wall being built down in New Mexico. I thought I'd go ahead and give you guys the brass tacks. Apparently, they've been stopped at about 80% construction, and the city says private border wall didn't have a building permit and orders construction to cease and desist, saying it's also not following the construction codes, which is only 6 feet tall fencing can go up in the city. I don't even know what to say to this. This on private property. The owner approved, allowed the fence to be built. Now we're being shut down by a city manager, by a mayor. I mean, oh my God. I mean, this is okay, guys. I'm going to give you some critical thinking here. Let's go to the beginning. This is a small section of fence that's approximately 1/2 mile in between two other fences that have been done by the federal government. So there's a 1/2 mile gap. The Army Corps of Engineers left that gap because they said it was impossible to build a fence there. It could not be done. And then during this time, for the last 15 years or so, we have approximately 100 to 150 immigrants coming through this gap per day. Per day. We build the wall, a private concern, taking donations from private people, looked at that section, brought in some private contractors who said, yeah, absolutely, we can build a wall here. We just need to move some earth. So we do it, and we get it almost done. And then the city comes in and says, nope, can't do it. You're violating city business codes, or building codes. Well, the fencing on both sides of this 1/2 mile fence are 18 feet tall. And of course, this fence was being put up to match that, 18 feet tall. Okay, and then on top of which, basically they're saying they didn't have a building permit, a silly little tax for the city, so they could actually put the wall up there. Now, that's one that I say, well, I understand, although I don't agree with. I'm not a guy who believes in all these building codes and in taxation to actually make these things happen. And it is a tax, by the way. City building codes are taxes. Critical thinking tells me that the human traffickers and drug traffickers have bought off the city council, the mayor, and the city manager. I don't see any other reason why this cannot go forward, that they actually did a cease and desist order. For the love of God, why is it government is constantly in our way? The people want, this wall. We want this wall. We want the immigrants to stop coming in. We want we want them to come in legally. So we know who they are. And so they go through a process. This just isn't the case anymore. We want human trafficking and drug trafficking curbed. I mean, severely curbed. And let's say, for instance, I want it stopped. If we take all of this into context, the only logical conclusion is the drug traffickers and or the human traffickers have paid off the city. That's the only way you can really look at it, gang, in my opinion. This is really, really stupid. City manager, we don't selectively enforce the law. Sunland Park city manager Julia Brown told CNN in the city's cease and desist order has nothing to do with politics. There is no political motivation on the part of the city, simply our interest in having our code and our ordinances complied with, she said. This application is not being treated any differently from any other applicant, and all the applicants are expected to comply with the law. We don't selectively enforce the law, do not show favoritism, or ignore our own laws. Well, what about the fact this is completing 2 sections of fence that had a 1/2 mile gap that's 18 feet tall? Clearly, at that point, there was no ordinance. They were allowed to not comply with the ordinance. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me. This is getting really ridiculous now. And once again, I hate to do this, but there's 2 stories here. I'm going to go ahead and link both of them down below so you guys can see. There's been a lot of controversy saying that this man right here, Colfage, has embezzled 1/2 of all the money that he collected through We Build the Wall. Nothing could be further from the truth. The media will say anything. Anything to make this project look bad because we're doing what the government will not do. But you have to remember now, the media does not want the wall either. It's that simple. I mean, they do not want the wall. They want the immigration through. I'll bring up Saul Alinsky for you guys another time, but this is part of a bigger plan. The American people are literally trying to secure their borders, and the governments, local governments, federal governments are stopping the process. So this is literally an us and them situation. The American people against city, county, state, and federal governments. I mean, how many of them are paid off by human traffickers and drug traffickers? Makes me wish I could interview Hillary Clinton, to find out, how deep this goes. But that's what it's starting to look like to me, gang. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Please comment down below. Am I way off base here? Am I way, way off base with my assertion that human and drug traffickers are paying off this city council in this city, Sunland Park, that they're not all bought off by human traffickers and drug traffickers? That's the only thing that makes sense to me anymore now. Literally nothing else makes sense. We've got two walls, in a 1/2 mile section in between that the federal government did not complete because because the Army Corps of Engineers said it was impossible to build a fence there. Impossible. It couldn't be done. And then we have a private concern saying, oh yeah, we can do it. We'll do it for you. We just got to move a little bit of earth to make it happen. So the federal government left that section open because they said it was impossible. Okay, so the Army Corps of Engineers said it was impossible. We know the federal government is tied in with human trafficking and drug trafficking. I don't think anyone's gonna actually flame me for actually saying that. There's far, far too much evidence. So I go now to the city management. City manager, basically Julia Brown. How much have you been paid off for, Julia Brown? I mean, how much has the city gotten from the drug traffickers and human traffickers to keep that section open? I wonder. I just wonder. Okay, that's all I have for you right now, gang. I'll link both stories below like I always do. Again, thank you for spending a few minutes with Truth, Money, and Freedom. You guys have a wonderful day. God bless you all.